I don't know if someone's out here smoking all the time or I smell burnt toast and I'm having a stroke. Oh, okay, at least this one's... Hey guys, welcome back and welcome to our breezeway roof. So last week I kind of like shared some thoughts of what I wanted to do with this roof and also the annex roof up here. And today I'm going to kind of show you in reality how bad it is. Here is our flat roof. And as you can see, there's a lot of pooling, and here's our gutter. So this goes back to our gutter, and it's supposed to be sloped forward, backwards. And just by the moss should kind of give you an idea of, I mean, all the pooling water and what's happening here, because you can see right here is a massive amount of water, and you can see how much they've tried to repair all these corners, including, if you see, this area has cracked significantly multiple times. So I'm gonna have to probably re-stucco this. This has shifted over time, and as you see, it also doesn't drain spectacularly. So I don't know why they decided to put this drip edge so proud, but there's literally a whole piece of a wall of water, I should say. So as you see, here's the front, and you can see there's a downspout right there. So there's an opportunity to run a gutter all the way across here and then have it come down under that window into a gutter over there. So that is, I think, an opportunity that has been missed. I mean, just walking on this is like unpleasant too. It's just so much. You can see how thick this is too. It's just so much, and so much tar has been painted on this over the years. And I just think it would be far better to have the water come away than just pool in this area and have a hope of it going that direction. And as I said, height restrictions, this is our height restriction really is this concrete lintel here. So we can only slope this about 19 inches from the ground up to there. I think that should be enough slope though, to kind of get most of this water off of this roof. And then as you see, here's our breezeway roof, sorry, our annex roof. In our annex roof, you can see water's coming off the side too. You can see some wood rot, stuff like that. So I think it would be best probably to put a slope on this. I mean, I don't see any other way to do it really. And I think the goal for today is probably to try to at least unbolt some of these to get these ready to gracefully go off the roof here. Keyword is gracefully, because it's a drop, and there's Boost. Hey, Boostina. So, well, we'll see. We'll see. It might not go so well. I have no clue how heavy these are. I'm assuming maybe around 200 pounds each. So if this does have to come apart, that might be a consideration. I really do not like how they used big Phillips heads. As you see, the system was vacuumed out and all of this is disconnected. I still need to disconnect some of the power. And then these should be ready to go. Note, these are not great. These disconnect boxes are fuses. So chances are, and they're a bit rusty, so chances are I should probably replace these. And that screw is stripped all the way up there, so that's fun. Chances are I should, I should probably replace these with breakers. But also at the same time, I do not want the new mini split condensing units to sit on the roof, because let's say I had a leak here. What am I going to do? I have to jack this thing up or move it somewhere. That's not great for the copper lines or anything. So if I can, I'll try to move it somewhere that's more accessible, maybe like down there. Or I guess the front could work also, but aesthetics wise, I'm not quite sure if people are gonna like that or not. I mean, I guess it doesn't really matter, but that's the plan at least. All right, so the first thing we're gonna do really is obviously shut off the power inside. So don't do this before shutting off the power inside. But we're going to pull these fuses. I have seemed to have misplaced my needle nose pliers, so I will be doing this with a paint lid popper. So hopefully no one gets electrocuted here. The power is shut off, so we should be okay. But just to be 100% sure, number one, these definitely need to be removed, so we're not gonna, there's no power in these, but you know, electricity is scary and you don't want to electrocute yourself in any capacity. So boom, that's our one fuse. So the rest of these come out pretty easy. These units are pretty old and relatively rusty, and I think that was the big problem. The control arm itself should disconnect the box when the box is open, so those are kind of like C's shut in a stop, like on position, which isn't great. So here are all the 4 fuses coming out of this box. I end up just placing them in the box so I don't lose them, but the likelihood of me reusing those are pretty low. So like I said before, these guys have already been vacuumed out, and I had the lines disconnected already just to make sure no residual Freon or refrigerant is in here, so when I take apart the inside I don't get sprayed in the face. They do have these small plastic covers on them, which normally come off pretty easy, but for some reason are kind of a pain, so I came out and brought the paint lid popper. So these are just screwed on, so they come off pretty easily. The only thing is there's a lock ring on these power whips, and usually I like to take a screwdriver and hit them to loosen them. I think there is a special tool for this, but I've never seen anyone use one, and I've never used one personally. In the back here I forgot about the ground wires, so the line and neutral are now off, and these should all come off pretty easily after that. So just straightening wires out, pulling everything out, and then we have another one. So there's actually 3 compressors in this unit, and then 1 power going to the actual fan motor here. So here's just the 220 coming in, and then if I recall correctly, one of these lines also goes back into the unit, like the wall units inside. So that explains like the lower gauge wiring over here. The one lock nut over here is semi-seized, so I really had to go in there and whack on it for a while. So my biggest concern really was these Phillips screws screwed into this pressure treated wood, and it turns out that concern wasn't as warranted as I thought, because most of them just snapped off, and the screws they used were actually not galvanized or stainless. So they've completely corroded. A lot of them have come out with absolutely no thread on them at all, so that wasn't really a huge concern. But there were some other issues that I was worried about, especially getting these off. Oh, and there's a picture of how bad they are. So here I am just like kind of lifting these up and seeing if it is easy to move, and it turns out these are really heavy. I would say probably somewhere between 200 to 300 pounds. So midway through, I had to go down and grab a jug here, and I'll show you exactly what I'm using this for. One of the big things is all these screws are really sharp and also extremely rusty. So I didn't want to run the risk of dropping one of them on the roof and stepping on them and having it puncture the membrane. Even though this membrane should be okay, there are signs of really old wear. So basically, I just take a jug, I threw all my screws in there, and that way I put the cap on every time I'm done putting the screws in there, in case they fall over or in case, you know, anything drops. The screws aren't all over the roof in this gravel, which makes it really difficult to recover. So I'm realizing there's like very little space to actually grab onto these condensing units. So I'm taking these fan grills off, and someone did mention in one video that the fan is actually detached from the motor, which I think that might have just been a camera trick, because these motors, these fan blades are still very, very attached, and they don't come off. They haven't snapped off or anything. I'm just pondering about life right now, seeing how easy it is to move this. The fan blade itself does not come off very easy. It's very rusted on there, and the shaft is basically attached to the motor, like as one piece now from all the decay over the years. So as I'm pondering that issue, I'm going to go ahead and remove the rest of the power wires for the other condensing unit. And in my mind, this should be a breeze, but realistically speaking, they're just as seized and just as old as the other one. So luckily, all of the screws on this go out pretty easy, so I didn't have to do anything crazy. And this footage is actually sped up 10 times speed because this was actually, as easy as this looked, it was actually pretty crazy. So some more 10x footage of all the screws and stuff being removed. As you can see, this thing is moving. I did attempt to try to loosen these top bolts so I can try to lift up the top cover to the unit, so you can see the impact there, but they are so seized, it didn't move anything. So I'm like, they're going off in one piece. All right, what I did do is I did bring 2 pallets. And the whole purpose of these 2 pallets is if I roll this off the roof, I don't want it to hit, concrete and like scrape it all up. If I can roll it and I can hit the pallets, then there's some buffer zone. And there's 2 of them. So hopefully it can take a decent fall, and then I could drag these to the recycling yard. Well, I was definitely wrong to think that this wasn't still leaking, because it does look real moist, and it is dripping, and there's quite a puddle on the ground there. And I mean, if that's any indication up there, that also does not look very healthy. So if that's any indication up there, that also doesn't look very healthy. So I don't know who put this drip edge in, but it's definitely not doing nothing. Not doing anything. So pretty upset about that. And I think this is the first roof to get repaired. Number 1, because it's small, I can do it myself. And 2, it'll be good practice for the other one. Things is, this stack of metal is always getting in the way. So I kind of want to move this downstairs and take this to the scrapyard tomorrow. And I just heard something. Could that be a drippity drip? I think it was. I think it was a drip. I think it's dripping from that. So let me take a look at that. It's not great. I can actually see ice that has formed here. Real soft. What fell down was ice, so that's fun. Okay, and hopefully we can just, oops. All right, let's move that right to about here. We should let that drain a little bit slower. All right, I'm gonna go grab a trash bag. Oh, okay, at least this one's dry. Oh, that's nice. Just came off all in one piece. How considerate of it. It's also frozen, so maybe I'll put this in the trash before it defrosts. So here are these radiator pieces getting moved down. I suppose they're radiator covers, and surprisingly, these are really, really heavy. They're probably like 50, 60 pounds a piece. There you see Boost and shaven still from her ultrasound from before. But I started out by throwing these small pieces out the window, but I feel like the neighbors were not very happy about it. So I just started bringing them down the stairs. But these things are... so in total, it was approximately 780 pounds of radiator covers. So that's a significant amount of weight that's been hanging on this wall, and that's not including all the copper pieces, well, copper/aluminum pieces as well. So I figured I still had a little bit of room, so I took over the other side pieces and just started removing all of these. Realistically speaking, it doesn't really matter. I have another floor of these I have to remove, and on top of that, all the bathrooms have these too. and I definitely didn't have the time or energy to remove the backs of these. But I will tell you this, the next day I was so sore I could barely walk. That's how much weight and how heavy these are. I'm going to throw a picture up of what the van looked like afterwards as well. So here's a picture of the van and its reflection, and you can see how low it's squatting. Here is, aside from the random lawnmower and some rotors, this was predominantly the covers. And in case anyone was wondering, it is 8 cents a pound at 760 pounds. We got $60.80 back from scrap. All right, so that's the last panel going down. This is all done except for that area. I don't really want to move those windows. I'm also exhausted, and I haven't even gotten to, the backing side on this. But I mean, that's okay. I did cut those thermostat wires. Those are, I'm assuming 110, and they control when the valves open. So that's when hot water comes through these. Most of these, like I said, have frozen, so they're no use to me. There's one more in the back there, but there's a ton more in the bathrooms. And the van is almost at capacity. I'll show you guys that after I move this down. I don't know if someone's out here smoking all the time or I smell burnt toast and I'm having a stroke. But here is all those radiator pieces. And realistically, I might get fit a little bit more, but what's the point? These things are also super heavy. They're probably like, I don't know, 50, 60 pounds a plate, which seems ludicrous. The van's squatting a bit, but that's all right. So you can see it's getting dark. So I am hoping probably to kind of stop there. Boo, stop licking the ground. That's how you got sick last time, buddy. And hopefully take this to the scrapyard tomorrow. Probably not gonna get a lot. It's steel, so we're talking probably 3 cents a pound. But I think it's just nice to get rid of, all that stuff in the house. So I still got to figure out a way how to gracefully drop that AC unit off the roof, 2 of them. I think I'm probably gonna need some help with that because they're pretty heavy. I don't want to throw my back out or fly off with it. Or if I do fly off with it, arguable if I want to be rushed to the hospital or not. But anyways, I will see you next week, hopefully. And a special thanks to our channel members. Thanks again.